Thank you all for coming. You all know D.Smith, multi Grammy Award-winning producer, platinum-selling producer, TV personality. Really, what don't you do is the real question. So we're here in New York, and you got your start kind of in New York, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, in New York. Well, technically in Atlanta, but I built up.
Yeah. In New York.
Yeah.
So I heard your story. You took a duffel bag and $20 and just said, "I'm gonna go for it." Just left.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Miami.
Okay.
And immediately after high school, I was just on a rampage, just trying to find myself and maybe make a little money on the way.
Yeah.
And so I decided to move to New York.
Okay.
And it's true, I did take a Greyhound, and I had $20 in a duffel bag. And for some strange reason, I ended up at 72nd and Broadway.
Okay.
And there I ended up staying.
Yeah.
Every night.
Performing?
No, not performing yet.
Oh,
I
not
knew
yet.
nothing about Subway performing.
Okay.
And maybe 3 or 4 days after, I was hanging out there, these 3 guys came in the subway and they started performing. Yeah. And it just reminded me so much of my childhood, because there was a gospel undertone to it, and a very promptu, a style to their music. Yeah. So I was immediately fascinated and connected with them. And
then you performed with them then for a little bit?
I asked if I could join their, I didn't really ask, I just kind of started scooting over and started ad-libbing and kind of harmonizing without, their permission. They were just like, wow, what the hell? So, yeah, and I started my career as a Subway.
And then, so you saved then up enough money to buy like an initial set of gear, right? So to start producing them?
I did, but before I started singing in the subway, like really singing in the subway, I got a part-time job. Okay. And my first paycheck, I purchased a keyboard from Radio Shack when they were open. But I purchased a keyboard, and I went to the subway and started singing. I quit the job and apologized to the manager and said, "This is not why I'm here." Yeah. So, that's what started.
And then that led to your first publishing deal, correct? Who is it that first kind of picked you up?
It did. Her name is Britt Morgan Sachs. Okay. Before when she got hired at Sony ATV, she actually had dinner with me. She met someone that saw me singing in the subway, knew her, and it was like, "You have to meet this young lady. She just got this job at Sony. She's not in the office yet, but she's hired, and she's ready to fire. She's ready to hire." And we had dinner, and she was like, "Do you have one song I can listen to now?" And I was like, "Right now." So I played one song, and she's like, "I want to offer you a pub deal." And at the time,
right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow. I was 6 months behind in rent. Yeah. And that little piece of change help me out.
Just
help me out a little bit. Not yet.
And then from there you went right back to Atlanta, or what was there a transition?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no, there was a whole life there in New York. I did everything from modeling to, because when I was singing in the subway, so many people would approach me for so many different things, from singing in the club, singing at a wedding, to whatever. And so I did modeling, and then I got discovered by the lead casting director of all of the Disney Broadway shows in New York, and he asked me if I was familiar with Lion King. I was like, "What, are you freaking kidding me? It's right upstairs." Yeah. So I was singing a cappella, Amazing Grace, and he saw me and he was like, "I need you to learn this music, blah, blah." Long story short, Disney put me into Disney master classes for acting and vocal coaching and things like that. And they offered me the lead role.
You said no, right?
I did say no. I said no, like the next day I called. At the time, I don't know if she's still the producer, but Pam Young, I'm so sorry. She was the sweetheart, but I called her and I said, "Pam, I'm so sorry, I just can't take it." And I wasn't rolling in the dough. I was still broke.
Yeah, but it was,
you know.
But you wanted to do music.
I
so
wanted to do the
you
right
wanted to-
music.
Okay.
I just felt like I want to be a rock star first, and then maybe do
And
a
then go
Broadway
Broadway.
piece.
Okay.
Not Broadway, and then all of a sudden I'm a rock star. It's just
Yeah.
like that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So she just hung up. She didn't say nothing. She just hung up. So I don't blame her.
Have you talked to her since?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't talked to her, but I am sorry, Pam. I really am. But so there's a life here in New York, and what happened was I just started, developing more as a producer, a songwriter. With the money that I got from my pub deal, I purchased equipment and just started developing my writing skills and things like that. So people started hearing more about me, and long story short, Sierra's manager at the time wanted me to come work with her on the album, which we ended up, and I stayed because after that, this artist heard about me, this artist, and I was like, I'm not going back to Brooklyn. I'm gonna go back, but I'm gonna get my things and come back to Atlanta.
So Atlanta is really where everything happened, it seems like. So who was the first artist that you worked with out in Atlanta?
Sierra was the first artist I worked with, but during the time I was flown there, Carrie Hilson had purchased a song for her first album. So it was Polo the Don and Timbaland were the only producers on the album, and the last minute I was added to it. And so Sierra was the first artist that I actually physically worked with, and then it went from that to Lil Wayne and.
Talk to us a little bit about working with Lil Wayne. How did because you're on arguably one of the best albums ever produced in hip hop, on the Carter 3. So.
I must concur. Absolutely. No, because it was the energy that Wayne had. He had so much to prove, and I know so many people. We saw the development from the mixtapes to this highly anticipated album, and working with him, I'm going to tell you, when he recorded Shoot Me Down, he heard it from his managers and his team, and then his A&R, and he hadn't even heard the song.
Oh, really?
No, he hadn't heard it. He just trusted them. So when I walked in the studio, I was kind of looking past the smoke and trying to see, oh, there he is. And it was a party up in there, but he hadn't started yet. And so I worked my way over to him, and he stood up and he just said, thank you. That's all he said. And I was like, wow, what a freaking gentleman. No, he hadn't heard it. And super humble and really genuine. And his album was about a week away, literally, from being shipped out and sold.
Oh, wow.
It was that serious. And I played the music, and he was like, this is monumental. He looked at me and said, this is monumental. And he, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. This is so exciting. So he was like, who's singing the hook? I referenced it because it wasn't for a rapper or for him. I was just
ideating.
And I was like, well, this type of voice would sound great on this. He was like, who's doing the hook? I said, oh, me too. That's me. And he said, he shook his head and he said, okay. He stopped the music, told everyone to get out, asked everyone to get out, and it was just the engineer, him and myself, and and a dear friend of mine was there, so it was very intimate. And I watched him create the entire song in front of my face. But before he did that, he played this song just to get me excited about his album. It was called Lollipop. It hadn't come out.
Been released yet.
It wasn't released.
Oh, wow.
There were speakers in the studio the size of this thing.
He
jumped and backflipped and climbed on it, put literally a show for me. And I'm standing there like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you get your ass down from there. You're not going to perform for me. I will faint right now. And it was just so incredible. And he was like, so what do you think? I'm like, I'm leaving. Good luck. Like, it was amazing.
Wow.
And
he said it was his favorite song on the album. I've been heard saying that multiple times.
The next day, I don't know how he did that, but the next day I woke up to a lot of text messages and emails on my phone. And we were there at the studio till maybe 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I went there like maybe 3:30 or so when they called me, and I was tired.
Yeah.
So the next morning, everyone was like saying, "Congratulations on your Billboard article that Wayne wrote." I'm like, the next day, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Very quick turnaround time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he wrote just the most amazing,
Yeah.
you know, things about me, and he didn't have to. I never
Yeah.
met him. I wasn't signed to him, and he didn't owe me anything.
Yeah.
And that was like very much so a highlight of my career.
Yeah.
So.
Would you say that single moment, that song was probably the biggest in terms of groundbreaking in your career, was it musically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of records like
Yeah.
that. I don't say a lot, but
Yeah.
I have enough to give somebody a cute little career.
Yeah.
but I've heard that sound for years because that was my sound.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I was so happy that it was done so perfectly and people received it so well. You know, it was just timing, great timing. His vocals was freaking perfect. At the beginning, when he asked for a cup of tea, he really asked for tea. Like,
yeah, and just kept it on the track too.
Kept it on track. And then in the middle of it, he's like, "Excuse me, what's your name again?" I was like, "Oh, D.Smith." He was like, so the second verse, he was like, "No,
so
D,
bring the drums back." Yeah,
so I was
yeah.
like, "Hey!" I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Do it again, but could you put a little more reverb on it?" No. Yeah, so.
So transitioning from working with Wayne, what was kind of the next step in your musical journey? Because where do you go from there? That was probably...
Well, to be honest, I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
I didn't have management, and as much work as I was putting into doing the music, I really didn't have enough experience to understand, gosh, you know, this is a big moment for you.
Yeah.
You need to get your butt in there, beg this to be a single,
an
official single.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe a week after the album had come out, they asked me to fly out with him for Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
I mean, they honestly could have done any song.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And when I was rehearsing with them on the stage, it was just like, wow, this is really real.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So it opened, obviously, a lot of doors then for the Atlanta hip-hop scene and the Atlanta music scene too, correct?
It did, but no one could find me. I couldn't find the doors that were open.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a really private person,
Yeah.
and I could be a little into myself and aloof and overthink things and so protective of myself and my music and, you know, and rejection and things like that.
I mean, also when you get a check from a song like that, it's kind of some time to have some fun too.
Yeah.
Right. So
I just wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
So, but the doors were open. A lot of people were very interested in meeting me and things like that.
So Love and Hip Hop came a couple years later, correct? So in between this time, you began transitioning, correct?
Yeah. I by the time I had got a call from Mona, I was already about a year and a half.
Okay.
Transitioning.
Yeah.
And wow, this is crazy. I'm sorry. It's just like when I said that, I was like, wow, you know, thinking back from a child and things, and this just wow, that was some serious thought there for a second. I'm sorry.
No.
but yeah.
So because you obviously had built a lot of relationships in the music industry by this time. So once you started transitioning, did you see people kind of treating you differently, or was it hard to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was crazy because it was either people just turned the other way.
Yeah.
Or people just gravitated to me and wouldn't let go.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is you.
Yeah.
You know, this is you. And it took me back to when I was in the Broadway thing, and the coach was Susan Batson, an amazing acting coach.
Yeah.
She told me in front of the whole class, I was embarrassed and upset, but she told me, she said, "You're so talented."
Yeah.
She called me a genius. But she also told me that until you become who you are, who you really are, whatever that is, you will never be successful.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
How dare you? Like,
yeah.
And it made so much sense. People are not dumb. They're going to
be able to see through.
They don't want to complicate it.
Yeah.
They just want to know, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, and I do. The people that are gravitating to me, I love them and I appreciate them because I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to prove, and they like me.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Those other people have issues.
Yeah.
They should be happy for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know. So there were some differences, but.
So how did you navigate kind of the music landscape during your transition? Was it a different approach that you had for people, or was it more like, I'm finally who I truly am openly, so this is me, take it or leave it?
I don't like to be, in real life, I don't like to be nasty to people. I like to play the humble role, you know, and people will come around at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
Who's meant to be will be here, but I do have that attitude.
Yeah.
I just don't have time to look back and ask for forgiveness or approval for who I am.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And during the time of your transition, you were friends with Billy Idol, right?
Betty Idol.
Betty Idol. Excuse me.
Very close. There was a B in there.
Betty Idol.
Yeah.
And she knew you before your transition and during, so you became very, very, very close.
First day we met.
Yeah.
The first day. I'm not gonna lie, I tell her this all the time. I was staring at her when she was writing. She was so weird. I was like, this girl's crazy. She's not fooling me. But we created some of the best music I've ever created. No one's heard it yet, but
not yet.
We're holding on to it for the right situation.
Yeah.
But we met through a friend, Polo the Don, a producer, and you know, he was like, you got to meet this writer, Betty. You're gonna love her. Yeah. But I named her Betty Idol. Her name was CeeLo Jackson.
Oh, really?
CeeLo Jackson. I was like, girl,
you need to change it to something more.
We're gonna go with Betty Idol. So yeah, I gave her that name, and it just stuck. She loved it and whatever. But it was that connection. Yeah. But I got to be honest with you. When she met me, I was nowhere near transitioning. I didn't even give it serious thought that I could actually do it in my life, in my career. So I was a boy. Baggy pants, cute little haircut, and, you know, the Timbs, and playing the role. Still talking like a girl. No. And the next day I said, hey, let's go out. And she was like, okay. I said, but I want to go out like this. And I sent her a picture of me in full makeup. She's like, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've just been inseparable.
Close friends. And then she brought you, she was originally casted to be on Love and Hip Hop with the boyfriend, her boyfriend at the time. And then she was like, no, it's going to be much better, because they went through her Instagram page and saw you. Yeah. And they're like, we want D.Smith. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your experience on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
First, I must say it was a learning experience. Yeah. And it was a great platform. Yeah. You know, it created, you know, a lot of opportunity for me to meet good people and more people to work with in the future. You know, it was a learning experience for me. Yeah. Stick to my guns. Yeah. Not on a social level, just who I am. What's comfortable for me, not for people. Yeah. You know, and absolutely. You know, I think I learned a lot from the producers, and I think the producers learned a lot from me. You know, so. And
you were really one of the first transgender females to be on such a major reality television network. Do you feel that this paved the way for a lot of people?
I would hope so. Yeah. I mean, I hope that wasn't in vain. Yeah. I mean, me cursing these bitches out like I hope. Please don't let my life be.
Because you seem they depict such a different side of the D.Smith than that I've interacted with. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's reality TV.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep saying I'm gonna be honest, but I didn't want to let people down on so many levels. I was like, I don't want to be a snooze fest on the show, so let me turn up a little bit. But then I don't want to be a complete punk in the corner getting bullied. But then I'm classy. I've never been in a fight in my life. I've never been to jail. I'm probably the only person on the show who's never been to jail. You know, I don't have HIV. You know, all these stigmas of trans. Yeah. That's not me. Yeah. You know, and I wanted to show that. Yeah. And I felt a little inadequate, you know, at times when people are, you know, the camera's getting
Yeah,
them, and
yeah.
I'm like, well, hey, you know what, you're a bitch, and no, so it was television,
Yeah.
and I'm not here to apologize for it. I
Yeah.
had fun, and a lot of people enjoyed me on the show,
Yeah.
but it was television.
Yeah.
I went with it.
So I watched all season 5, by the way.
You did.
I did watch all
You're
season
so
5.
ratchet.
You're great in it.
Thank you.
I completely lost my train of thought. So in the show, there was a lot of altercations. I wouldn't say altercations, but a few males in the hip hop industry made comments about the trans community. Do you feel that through your experience on the show and you kind of showcasing that who you are, you kind of changed the perception of either of just you or of the transgender community for those individuals, or no?
No, but that's not my battle.
Yeah.
These are grown men.
Yeah.
And they have a responsibility. And something tells me, honestly, as crazy it is, I don't think they're bad people.
Yeah.
I just think they're not strong enough to just be men and say no.
Yeah.
My girl, some of her best friends are trans people. I hang with them.
Yeah.
Which they do. They hang with her trans friends. But why in public is it one thing?
And privately, it's another.
That bothered me.
Yeah.
It's not about you accepting me and me trying to say, hey, you love trans people. You say it right now. Yeah. And people got that from the show. My thing was, don't do what whites did to blacks in the 60s.
Yeah.
Don't get on television and say, don't get on an interview and say, trans people don't belong with us.
Yeah.
They don't belong. They don't deserve a chance. I don't want my children, I have to turn my children's head away every time a trans woman, they're evil. Why are they being marketed? These are very, very, very irresponsible statements, and they're very hurtful. I can take it.
Yeah.
They're coming from people that don't matter to me.
Yeah.
But they are very vulnerable children, trans children, that may go to school, you know, and have to deal. I mean, it's just way deeper than what they think. And then this is not the 90s anymore where us trans people have to hide, you know, and come out only at night. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Like the days of us not being able to go in the grocery store when whites are there, those days are over.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But those days are over.
Yeah.
And I want trans people to understand we don't have to accept that.
Yeah.
Just because we're not getting physically beat up and it's not us, that's still a terrible thing to go through.
Yeah.
And then we shouldn't accept it at all.
Yeah. So on the show, I saw you introduced to CeeLo Green. Was that actually the first introduction with them, or was there like a pre-introduction and the filming of it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we hung out, we went gambling, we've gone fishing, and we met prior to that, but we definitely, while we were new at learning each other, we definitely wanted to capture as much as the intro as possible.
So you could tell, at least from the scene and how it was filmed, but I'm sure this was true in real life, that he was immediately enamored with your persona, like who D.Smith was.
Oh, yeah.
So what did he said something about who you were as a producer and a songwriter, and then he also said something about kind of who you were, your person. Do you think that this has a lot to do with kind of the great relationship that you've built with CeeLo, which just, you were very straightforward and honest and up with him, and he just loved your forwardness? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
CeeLo's always been, he's been CeeLo, and because of who he is why we love him.
Yeah.
You know, he's whimsical. He's a weirdo. He's a genius.
Yeah.
He's super, super sweet and very caring.
Yeah.
And he understands where the future is.
Yeah.
It's just simple as that.
So, so he signed you, correct? Or signed you to, and you're working together?
Well, we're working together. Yeah. And we started a working relationship. He's working on a couple projects.
Okay.
And I'm definitely involved all up in that. And
Anything we're going to hear soon?
Huh?
Anything we might hear soon?
September. I'm ready for it to release it.
Yeah.
You know, but definitely. Yeah. He's in a good place.
Yeah.
Very creative space.
Yeah.
And
so it's been awesome working with him then too. Your chemistry in the studio too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's a Gemini like Betty.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, why? We get along so well. It's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're also working with someone who has the number one R&B album on Billboard.
Yeah.
Fantasia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to play. Can I play one of the tracks?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Okay,
Absolutely.
I'll play one of the tracks.
The song's called Lonely Legend.
Can I play one of the
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Song's called. Why am I breathing so hard? I'm not even fat. What's wrong with me? Can you imagine if I was fat?
I got it. Yeah.
I would have to lay down and do this in a bit.
Everybody loves her, but she can't love herself enough. She's shining like a diamond. She really lives so dangerous, depending on her swagger, 'cause her swagger's to the limit. She's so popular because
So this song, when you were making it, did you kind of know right away that like this is gonna be a hit? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I didn't know it was for her.
Oh, so did her team select it or did she select it?
Oh,
or-
no, this was the song. There was another song I did that she also recorded, she didn't put out, but this was definitely a song created for her. I actually had wrote I produced the record, but I had wrote the first verse and half of the second and the pre-chorus before I had Betty come in and help me and make it make sense and everything. And but I referenced it for her in that tone and the dark, raspy kind of.
Your drums are very recognizable too. I don't know if we have any like avid sonic people that really love the sound of music like intimately. So your drums have a really unique sound. Was that a sound that you've developed on your own, just through a lot of years of tweaking, or?
Yeah. Well, I grew up playing drums. My dad's a drummer, so the drums are one of the instruments I do well.
Yeah.
But I don't have a drum set, so I've learned to produce drums like a drummer and not a producer.
So it doesn't sound sequenced, it sounds...
No, I play them, and even if there's a slight velocity issue or a mistake or something, sometimes I leave it because it's just a human.
It makes it sound real.
Even if the sounds are synthetic, I play them like they're live drums, and it helps. And then I do some tweaking with the panning, how I see fit.
Yeah.
So,
That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
So I want to have the audience ask some questions, but first we actually have some pretty exciting news. So bringing at first ever anyone's going to hear about it through the Google platform, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And anyone's going to hear about this. This is it. You guys are ready to hear some news? Well, 2 months ago, I made history by becoming the first trans woman to sign to a major label. I'm a Sony artist.
Crazy, right? That's incredible.
Yeah, I am signed to Sony. Doug Morris made it all happen, and thank God for CeeLo for bringing me in into what he's doing. And it's about to be incredible.
Yeah.
It's about to be complete pandemonium. We're just so excited.
Yeah.
And, this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
So in terms of, now that you have this, you're signed, if you could use this platform to be like, hey, this artist, I want to work with you. Like, I've had my eye on you. This is who I dreamed of working with. Who would it be?
I want Nelly Furtado to come back. I do. I really do. But gosh, I just would love to work with Tina.
Yeah.
But I would like to just sit Madonna down for 10 minutes and explain to her what I think she should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madonna,
and
you got that, right?
Absolutely love Beyonce.
Yeah.
I love Beyonce. I got music for you, girl. I do.
Well, now that you're signed, I think all these things, just everything's falling in place. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's huge for the transgender community. It's
Yeah.
huge for music though too. Just bringing your unique sound into the soundscape that we all are privileged to listen to.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah. So I'd like to, if anyone has any questions for Dee, now would be a great time to ask them. If anyone has any. Yeah.
You want to do it in the mic?
Yeah, preferably, just so we can hear you.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
Maybe you can just do it without the mic until you.
Okay, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I'm just thinking about, working at Google now. So some of us are here, not the most diverse company in some ways. So, a lot of us are part of underrepresented groups in Google. And I know that we oftentimes struggle with trying to figure out that balance. You don't want to be like a representative for that, be the voice of Black people or women or whatever it is. And I can imagine being a trans person in hip hop, that is also a feeling you probably have.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like how do you kind of balance that out? Do you try to be a representative because now you're the first trans woman to be signed, or do you at least want people to focus more on your music and talent?
Thank you so much for that question. First of all, I absolutely do want to be a representative for trans people. It's needed, but I definitely don't want to be limited to that, and that's why my music, I work very hard to display my abilities as a producer, so it's not just hip hop records, but it comes with the territory. It is who I am. I am a Black woman. I am a Black trans woman, and that's it. I love it. I own it, and whatever platform that I'm a part of where I can help people.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
So, in terms of people that are not yet at the point where they're confident enough to take that next step into not even just the transgender community, but the gay community, just no matter if you're feeling oppressed in some way, to take that step, what would your advice be to those individuals that just to kind of push them to truly be themselves and use their voice to kind of make change?
As far as music or in general?
In general, just in general, yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, you just have to be a very strong person and be prepared for a fight. No matter what you do, when you're standing up for something and it cuts through from everyone else that's just okay with how life is going, people all of a sudden become critics. And you just have to be prepared for, the negativity and being discouraged sometimes as well. But keep your eyes on the prize, and know, and don't forget why you started what you're doing,
So what's next musically then? What can we expect next from Dee?
Well, I am working on an EP. Well, it's actually done. I'm just working on getting my managers to understand that we need to put it out now. But working on an EP. I'm working with 2 Chainz right now.
Okay.
I have I met with a really important A&R, and I just can't say the artist who I'm going to work with. It's she.
We can turn the cameras off.
No. It's a she, and I have
a lot of things in the works.
A lot.
Oh, always, yeah.
A lot.
And then, so what's next in terms
No,
of
okay.
film or television? Yeah.
There's some television. There's some television right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, there's television involved, and we're almost done with the contract. Everything's look good. My lawyer said everything's look great, so it's just me signing and going to the next level. Everything for me right now is about being
to launch.
About to launch and being present. No matter what I'm doing. I think no matter what you do, even if it's ratchet or classy or perfect or not, presence for trans people is very, very, very important. Yeah. Very important. And I'm about to release a song. It has nothing to do with Sony. It's just me wanting to, make people happy.
It's called Been There?
It's called Been There.
Been There, yeah.
Yes, it's just a song to just encourage people and make you feel good. You know, so I'm gonna be releasing that very soon.
Okay.
Mhm.
So no inclination to who the TV thing is. What network is it on?
It's a legendary network.
A legendary network. Okay.
It's legendary. No, seriously.
It's gonna be big.
No, it's quintessential music and entertainment network.
Oh.
So-
I think we.
No, it's not BET.
I wasn't thinking BET.
No.
I was thinking another 3-letter, but I mean there's.
A lot of people. But yeah, no, seriously, I'm so excited, and gosh, I don't know what I could say, but it will definitely display who I am, and it's me bringing in other people for opportunity and just helping people along the way.
Because it's about using the platform.
Yes,
right?
and my
Yeah.
talent, my
Yeah.
real talent,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm about to do it in better. No, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm having a ball, honestly.
Good. That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Any more questions from anyone in the audience? Well, Dee, thank you so much for coming out today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I loved this interview. It was great.
Good. I did too.
And thank you so much, guys, for stopping by.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.